Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we are actually going to talk about the festival we were just at, Area 506, which was super fun. So we're going to talk all about our highs and lows, a little bit about what we noticed, and we're going to talk a little bit about Area 506. But before we do, anything new with you? What's going on?
Well, I've got a couple of updates. One, I didn't weigh in this week, which is fine, but I did a really cool thing at the gym that I'm super proud of. With the assistance, and not assistance, my friend Donna at the gym, who is like my number one hype man, she held my hand because I tried all class to do a box jump, and I, kept faking myself out at the last second thinking I was going to fall. And then she said, no, at the end of class, she said, first time I did one, somebody held my hand and you do all the work. I'm just going to hold your hand. This woman's about 5 feet tall and not very large. So like she wasn't going to hoist me up there in all my glory. So she held my hand. She said, you can do this. And I did a box jump.
That's super exciting.
And if you're not a gym person, gym bro, that means you stand in front of like a soft box and you use the force of your legs to jump up and land on it.
That's super exciting. I don't think I have attempted a box jump yet. So how high was the box?
I mean, not very high.
Well, that's fine, but how high?
I mean, like, I think it was 18 inches.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a pretty big height to jump, to be honest.
Well, to go from not jumping ever to
go from not being able to like walk up the hill to jumping up a box.
I felt pretty great. It was a pretty great day. How about you, Isaiah? What's new with you?
I have gotten back to the gym. Have not yet weighed myself, but I have been going at like 7 o'clock in the morning because that seems to be a good time to fit in with my shift, my schedule right now. I'm on vacation this week.
Woo.
Yeah, it is actually me and my wife's 8-year anniversary. It'll actually be the day before this episode comes out.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Isaiah and Andrea. And for anybody who thinks the opposite, Isaiah and I are not the married couple who are celebrating our 8-year anniversary. He has a very lovely wife who is a much better person than I am.
So I took the week off thinking we would take the week off together and like do a Halifax thing. Got a new job, so she doesn't have the time off that she needs, which is fine. I get a week off to just hang out at home and not think about work
and dote on your wife and like make her dinners and rub her feet and things.
Sure. I do not think I will be able to do that, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this week. But then I'm also getting ready for fantasy football. It's almost football season for you football people out there. So super excited. We're getting ready for that. The next week that we record, because we record here at Break the Secrets again, we record 2 episodes in a row. So the next week that we record, I will have done my draft that day as well. So we'll have to figure that out. But
nobody cares. It's fine.
Nobody cares. Listen, it is fantasy football time. I'm super excited. I'm going to be talking a lot more about fantasy football.
Isaiah will reveal his fantasy football lineup in the episode following. And
that's right.
Like maybe 12% of our listeners will care.
I love fantasy football. But you also...
Yeah. So in addition to things that people generally wouldn't care about, I actually performed as a pop-up performer, like with a group that I perform with at the Sea Shanty Festival this past weekend. I sing with this a cappella group that focuses on Canadian folk and pop songs. And we sang at the Sea Shanty Festival and I had a solo and that was really fun. And it was a great event and great to be there, and it was just fantastic, and it's always fun to perform.
Where's the Sea Shanty Festival at?
In St. Martin's.
In St. Martin's.
Yeah,
that's cool. And how like just a bunch of groups go and perform shanties?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of shanty performers. There were pirates around. We dressed like pirates. That was a thing that we did. That's cool. And they also have some pretty big acts, like Sean McCann from Great Big Sea was one of their headliners, as well as other people who I can't recall right now. But I didn't see many shows. I was there I had other engagements this weekend, so I was there to perform.
That's fun.
It was a blast. And speaking of festivals, I think that brings us
to our topic
of the day.
I think before we get into the topic, I do want to give a little update. So as you may have listened to some of our previous episodes with guests, we have some audio issues when we have guests. We've determined that is our mic, and we, as poor people,
Yeah.
it is expensive to buy a mic, and so we have started Buy Me a Coffee, which will be in our link below, somewhere in our bios. It's also in our link tree, to start funding to get a new mic so that we can have better audio quality when we have guests here, which will make the podcast that much better.
It will.
So,
And no pressure.
Yes.
Like if you don't feel like you can or don't want to, we just want you to listen. But if you happen to want to, great. And then we can buy a new mic and have guests on and have better sound quality, which makes Isaiah's life easier when he's editing, and it makes a more enjoyable listening experience for you. But again, no pressure to any of our friends and family.
right.
We will, you know,
And if you want to be like super, super generous, the Amazon wish list is also in our link tree with the mic that we want on there. But that is like above and beyond what, I mean, even $1 is above and beyond what we expect. So.
right. So like anything you can do, but like neither of us are going to look at you and go, you didn't donate, because who has money nowadays? Inflation. So if you do and can, love you forever, but we love you forever anyway.
That's right.
Especially for being a listener and a friend and a family member or stranger who likes the show.
Because this is episode 25. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I didn't know that.
This is episode 25.
What's 25, like a 25th anniversary? Is it like
Don't know.
oak?
I don't know. A mic.
Yeah, it's a microphone. It's our microphone anniversary.
Without further ado, let's talk about Area 506. All right. First thing I want to know about Area 506. What was your top 3 acts that you saw?
Top 3 acts were, for me, like Hostess de l'Air are always top tier entertainment as far as I'm concerned.
I missed that one.
Oh, you missed a great show. Have you ever seen them before?
I have not. I've heard them, but I haven't seen them before.
Oh man, their live show, if you find a chance to see them at any time, especially a St. John show, because they're very well known in Northern New Brunswick and pretty francophone, but their Anglophone show, their show for Anglophones, is particularly tremendous and hilarious because they're just terrific. Their live performance really is amazing. Ria May.
Ria May was great.
Was so good and has consistently been good anytime I've ever seen it. I remember the first time I saw her was either at a gallery or a library in Charlottetown in 2011, I want to say, during the ECMAs.
That was
and there might have been 20 people there, and she was tremendous then, has had an amazing career so far, and like her live show was just incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
And the one that I knew would be good, but I wasn't sure how much I would enjoy them, but really did, was the Sam Roberts Band.
Yeah, you like the Sam Roberts Band one?
And yeah, I love Sam Roberts Band, and I was surprised at how many songs I knew. And I shouldn't have been surprised, because I wouldn't have classified myself as a Sam Roberts fan, and their live show is terrific, with a special shout out, if I can squeeze in
a fourth,
was Neon Dreams.
Oh my God.
So good. And you know what? I don't think I heard a bad act.
Yeah, no, I think all of them were really, really good. Yeah. My top 3. So first off, I abandoned my wife all weekend last week. Was it last weekend? Yeah. Well, it'll be the weekend before it, but I abandoned my wife all weekend to go see every show. But my number 1 was Neon Dreams. I went to go see Neon Dreams, and I really liked them before. I've always followed them for a while now, and they were amazing. Just super high energy. That was great. And then I think my second favorite was probably Ria May. Really, really, really like Ria May. That was great. And then I think Billy Talent. Billy Talent, fantastic.
Yeah, I left before the Billy Talent show.
I loved Billy Talent.
I don't.
And
that's fine.
And I'm going to throw an honorary mention into City Natives. They were awesome.
Yeah, they were great.
So good. I got a chance to talk to them afterwards, and they were really nice guys. And
Awesome.
yeah.
What you don't know about Isaiah, or maybe some of you may know, is Isaiah gets invited everywhere. He is just like top tier citizen. And so I think you ended up at after parties and things.
Yeah, I ended up like hanging out with some people afterwards, and during shows and stuff too. That was pretty good. I tend to sneak my way into lots of things.
And he was given tickets, like
Yeah. No, I didn't expect to go. My original plan was to like stand outside and watch Neon Dreams. That was like I'll go stand and watch Neon Dreams for him. And then like the Friday that of the festival, they were like, "Hey, someone reached out to me. I got an extra ticket for the weekend." I was like, "Heck yes, I'm going."
Yeah, that's awesome. Isaiah is that special sort of person who just like, and happily so. And this is not a begrudging thing. I just think it's amazing that you're just like, yeah, went to this after party, was invited to this thing, doing this cool thing. I'm like cool.
Yeah, no, it was great. And then so there was a after party thing that I went to, and then there was a after party thing at O'Leary's on Sunday.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. I don't know. There's an artist, Sarah. She goes and she performs at O'Leary's on Thursdays with a band, and she performs.
Oh, that's Sarah Estabrook.
Yeah.
And she's her band is called Serotonin, and
Yes.
she's a brilliant singer. She's a powerhouse of a singer. So if you've never heard her and she's playing at O'Leary's, make your way there because she is really incredible.
She plays every Saturday, and I love her, and she's awesome. And so Sunday she was performing, and like bands were getting up and performing with her, and like they had just random drummers getting up and playing, and guitar players and stuff. It was fantastic.
Like, can you name some of the bands that they were part of? Did you recognize them? Like,
they had more local people.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was, but
okay.
Yeah,
sorry to put you on the spot.
I can't remember the names, but it was fantastic. And like O'Leary's, just like the front room was packed on Sunday, just people just listening to music, chanting, and it was super fun Sunday.
Oh, that's terrific. That is terrific.
For those of you now that don't know what Area 506 is, because you might be listening from somewhere else, it is a music festival, obviously, here in the St. John area. What year is this? This is year 4?
Year 4 or 5?
No, it's got to be longer than that, right? Because we went through the COVID era.
Yeah. This would be, maybe it's year 5 or 6, but festival 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's a fantastic festival, and there's definitely getting even better and better.
They do an excellent job, and it's an amazing partnership. Ray, oh my God.
Oh, what's his name? See, put you on the spot. Ray. We'll just call him Ray.
Ray, who is the organizer and brainchild behind the whole thing, is just incredible and has like solidified partnerships with the port, and the port is super supportive and letting them use their land. And that from that was born the Container Village, which runs all summer long. Like, it's really, St. John's always been amazing, although other people have said not, but this has really started to accentuate how amazing St. John is and show other people how cool we are.
Yeah, it's a great space. It was actually used this past weekend for the Pride Week's launch stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So now that we've talked about our favorite bands, do you have any other highlights from the festival?
One of the things, and I think the reason that I suggested to Isaiah during the festival when we would run into each other and hang out and stuff, that I wanted to do this episode, is one of the biggest takeaways I saw in context of our podcast is the diversity of how people were dressed and shapes and sizes of people, the diversity of shapes and sizes of people, and how everyone was accepted. There have been times in my life where I'd go to something, a big event, and everybody would be kind of dressed similarly. And you'd feel out of place if you were bigger or whatever. But there were women who were sporting crop tops and, were probably 300 pounds, and they looked fabulous. There were people wearing cut off shorts and a tank top, and they looked fabulous. And there were people wearing dress to the nines, and they looked fabulous. And everybody it was just such a warm, welcoming environment. And like when you went over 3 nights of the festival, the first night there was, an array of people and a lot of older millennials and things like that. And then the next night there's the real Billy Talent crew, and saw that, you saw a lot more leather and a lot more cut off jean jackets and a lot more like heavier stuff and old Billy Talent t-shirts. And then Sunday was kind of a mix of everything. And it spoke to me. It resonated with me how comfortable anybody could be in any situation, how they want to dress, and how that is like the pinnacle of how the world should work.
Yeah, and I think a festival like this really kind of shows that kind of off, where a lot of times a festival is very based on a specific style, so like punk bands or like rock bands and that kind of thing. But like a festival like Area 506, which like kind of runs the gambit of punk, hip hop, the francophone stuff, right?
Folk, pop.
So it runs the gamut. So you do get that intermingling of people, but like music just kind of brings everyone together, and no one's really there judging people or anything like that. It was pretty fantastic to see.
It was awesome. I saw a little girl who's about 4 years old, a couple that I used to go to the gym with, and she had like ear protection on, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because it was loud.
It was very loud.
She had a magic wand, and she was wearing this like great jumper with rainbows on it, and her little jean jacket, and her hair done up in like Princess Leia buns, and she was having the time of her life. And you saw older people who were dancing around. It just really was such a warm, welcoming environment for pretty much everyone. Like it just was the creation of a very special place.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you could be anyone and look and feel great.
Yeah, and I think something you wouldn't have really experienced, because you're a stand in the back kind of gal, where I'm a jump in the middle with everyone kind of person.
Yeah.
Was even in like those like giant group clumps of people, people trying to get in and out. People were making room for people. People were helping people get through, and there was a lot of camaraderie in that, like in inner space of people.
Well, that's good.
Just jammed in together.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And Isaiah and I noticed about Isaiah and I that we have very different concert going MOs. I really don't like feeling compressed in a crowd. And I think a lot of that relates back to my own comfort level with my size. And I don't like taking space. I've talked about this before on the podcast. I am always concerned about the amount of space that I take up in any situation, but that's also made me get used to lots of buffer around me. So when I'm in a situation with a large crowd, I need to stand back.
Yeah. And whereas I love to be in the middle of people, my battery gets charged by being social and being around everyone. And so I like being in crowds. I like being around people. So that's kind of my thing. And I like getting right in with everyone, especially for like groups like Billy Talent and like Neon Dreams. I was right up front for Neon Dreams. Like there was a little bit of a mosh pit that they started, and I was right into the mosh pit. I might try and like post the video or something after, but yeah, I was right in there. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, and equally fantastic was me standing yards back and sometimes sitting on the bleachers at the very back. I was very comfortable there and very happy. And because my batteries recharge alone, and we talk about there's introverts and extroverts and ambiverts. I'm very much an ambivert, but my batteries definitely get recharged when I'm by myself. But I also love people. Like I love seeing people, and that's like I like to stand at the back and run into people I know and have a little chit chat and hear the music in the background. And I'm a music person. I'm a musician myself. I'm a performer myself. But to be in the thick of music, that is not for me.
Yeah, no. So you talk about the bleachers. So we had a little conversation about the bleachers. That was kind of a sore point for both of us, that we felt like there wasn't as enough scenes that we, at least that's what we kind of found, right?
Well,
at least for me.
Honestly, I don't necessarily feel that way. And here's why. As a person who in a past life or, a decade or more ago helped organize a festival, and conversely to what I just said, what's best for a musician performing is to have people like Isaiah fill the whole front of your stage, because performing to an empty tent and people milling about in the background is no fun for a performer. And so there's two things. You've got to have enough seating so that people with any kind of issues have a place to go and sit down and take a load off for whatever reason, back, knees, health overall. But you also don't want to have too much so that people are all sitting in the bleachers and nobody's under your tent.
Yeah.
And I never felt like I couldn't get a seat.
I had a few options. There are a few times where I went to go find a seat and there was just no space. It was more like in the later night shows.
Right.
There was no spot to sit, and so I ended up having to like lean against a fence or try and like or sit on the ground at one point.
Right.
I would have liked to see maybe a bench, or maybe like not a bench, but like, you know, a table bench.
Okay.
I would like maybe see one or two more of those out in the, and I know they had those in the private area, like the VIP area. So maybe that might have a little bit to do with it. They want you to
ante up those $300 tickets,
extra money to go into those VIP. So I get that, but I did find there was times where I couldn't, there was no spot for me to sit, which kind of sucked.
Well, and you know, in those later shows, because you'd been given her for hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I also found when I needed to get away and like go to the Container Village, you still had great listening.
Yes, I did find that.
And so there were alternatives in terms of seating where you could still hear what was going on and, you know, take a load off.
Yeah, I know you really enjoyed the Sam Roberts band. I'm not a huge Sam Roberts fan. Like, I like Sam Roberts, but
yeah,
that was one show a night I took the opportunity to disappear so I could actually call my wife, because I literally abandoned her. Like, she would go to work and I would be sleeping, and then I would get up and go to the concert. And by the time I got home at like 3:00 in the morning, clearly she'd be in bed sleeping. And so we like didn't really see each other at all through the weekend. So I took the opportunity during like different shows just to go off. And again, just that point there, Sam Roberts was one of the bands I did that for. You could still hear the music out and about, even just being down into the container space.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like super loud. It was enough that I could hear it, but enough that I could actually have a phone call conversation.
Well, that's great.
So do you have any like things that you would like to see them do going forward in the future?
I mean,
I know I have some thoughts.
I'm sure you do. I can't think of any. Honestly, I thought the festival ran really smoothly this year. Like, in earlier iterations of Area 506 that I've been to, like I went to the first couple, then I took a hiatus for a few years, and this is the first one I've been back to. Early on, I remember the bar line being atrocious, but I feel like that was an issue that they took in and they fixed that. What an efficient system. I love the way they had the water cooler set up. So you could go fill your empty bottle up with water. There were places to go. There was lots of space. Beautiful venue. I don't think there's too much other. I mean, I'll get to this later, but overall volume of a couple of bands, especially earlier in the day, like just sheer volume. And I recognize that we're at a music festival. Like I'm not in my backyard. I'm not NIMBYing, but there were a couple times where I was like, does it need to be this? Oh my God, I'm old. What were your takeaways, Isaiah? What was your advice beam?
I think what I'd really like to see, because the area that they're in is an amazing area. And I think you're right with they've taken some of the stuff from previous years, especially with like the drink tokens and being able to like not buy the drink tokens and be the beer tent all at the same space. Great. Adding the water was great because that wasn't there last year. That was missing. So that was great. What I would like to see is, I feel like there's an opportunity to expand into another tent, have a second tent. And so I don't know if you've ever been to the Harvest Jazz.
Oh yeah, of course I have.
And I feel like that's kind of where, to be able to expand what it is, I think if you had a second tent, even if you had a second tent that was like just local bands, Area 506 is a lot of all Canadian bands, but I would like to see maybe more local acts. And I feel like a second tent would do that.
So here's my question. I thought they did a great job of having local acts, particularly early in the day. Are you suggesting, and again, as a person who's organized a festival, recognizing the cost of putting a tent up, do you think there's actually enough support in the city of St. John, knowing the crowds that we saw? Like Saturday and Sunday both had excellent full crowds. So the Friday night crowd was not big.
No, Friday night was not.
It was not a big crowd. It was a wholesome crowd and a lovely crowd, and like, you know, but it wasn't huge. Do you think there's a level of support that you wouldn't just have local bands playing to empty audiences?
I think you would. I think if you did, because there was about a 30-minute interval between bands that played.
Oh, so you're suggesting a second tent to offset, during the offset those.
So that tent would, so that once this one ended, that one would start. Once that one ended, this one would start. So you're offsetting the people.
And not that we tell the Area 506 folks how to do their job, because
that's
we don't know. I think that's cool. Where would you put it?
I would put it on the very, very other side of the cruise ship terminals.
Okay. Like where
the sugar refiner was. I would put it there. Cool. So you're far enough away that the noise isn't traveling back and forth in case there's an overlap somewhere. But you're also close enough that you're within pretty good walking distance.
Because I actually personally love the single tent in comparison to Harvest. Harvest, I find that it splits your crowd. I liked the idea of the full community push, and personally, and I'm not arguing with you. I'm just like, I my personal opinion is I thought this looked great and felt great.
It definitely did. And I think that still can be your main space, but I feel like.
You think a collaboration with some bars around? Because I know Harvest is that too, where they collaborate with other bars around, and then they have like Area 506 sponsored shows at O'Leary's up the street, or at another place, the axe throwing place.
That would also be a nice little fit, because like Area 506 ends around like 11:30.
Yeah.
So if they had acts in conjunction with that started at bars at like 12,
or even if they started at 10
or 10, yeah. And I would like to see much more local bands.
I don't know. To me, there were a lot of New Brunswick bands there.
I don't know. I felt like when I looked at the lineup, there was 5 local New Brunswick bands. That's what I saw in the lineup.
I don't know. I can't do math that fast in my head, but
anyway, that's what I saw in the lineup, and I felt like.
And I feel like there's opportunity to see local bands all the time if you're a person who's interested in doing that.
Yeah, but I think this is the point where we get other eyes from outside of the city.
Ooh, I didn't know this would be a hot debate.
I know, right? That's just my take. I don't
disagree. I don't completely disagree with you, but I completely disagree with you. I'm just joking.
I personally, in a personal place, would like to see more hip hop acts, but that's all me.
Yeah, and this is where I think like getting a smaller venue partners and engaging that uptown core in that way
might be able to.
And that's something that all the parties would have to be part of. Maybe the Five and Dime becomes Hip Hop Corner or whatever. And like, that's not to tell anybody how to run their festival or the business, because we're just a couple of big people like living their big lives.
Yeah. Right. I think I need to hear, the girls from Strange Grooves.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear their opinion on it.
I mean, they have a podcast dedicated to this.
I bet you they have a podcast already out about it. I'm gonna have to go listen to it.
Yeah. Kate and Sherry, Kate Milbury and Cherise Letson, they put out a terrific podcast called Strange Grooves, and it's been around a hell of a lot longer than we have. Yeah. And they are pro. And I don't know if you saw them around with their media passes, covering the whole event. And then I saw this weekend, because they are terrific at social media. And I mean, that's Kate Milbury's business. She's a marketer, and she is top-notch marketer. And if you need marketing, call Kate Milbury. She's terrific. But I saw that they were at Queens of the Stone Age in Maine this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, looks like a killer show.
I would like to. They probably have. I'm gonna have to go and look at their podcast. They probably have one out this week about.
Are we stepping on their toes by talking about this?
Oh yeah, listen. We're coming after you.
No, we're not. We're not cool enough. Isaiah's cool enough. I'm not cool enough.
I think. I'd like to hear their opinion on that.
Yeah.
You guys.
We should do a podcast collaboration.
Oh my god, yeah.
That'd be really good for us. Not as good for you.
Listen, good PR for us.
Yeah.
But I think that's an episode. Do you have any last thoughts on Area 506 before we close this out?
I do, and it's going to lead into our next episode, so I'm going to drop this here. One thing that I learned about myself, and I don't know if this is a post-pandemic thing or something that I've always dealt with, and we can delve more deeply into this, but it was related to 506, is that I had a panic attack, at least one panic attack, if not two, over the course of the festival, and ended up having to leave. And it was pretty scary. And I think it was a combination of crowds and loud music, which I've never struggled with before. So it's a new thing to me. So I think in our next episode, look at this, we're going to talk about, look at that segue. Look, I did your job. We're going to talk about mental health and how our taking care of our physical health lends itself to being more malleable and mobile in our mental health and handle things a little bit better, even though bad things still do happen. And so that kind of is our teaser for the next episode. And Isaiah, where can people find you on the internet?
I am Maritime Brews on all of the social medias, everywhere that you look. And we are Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook.
We are Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook, and I'm Caitlin Dean on Facebook and in real life, at the Caitlin Dean on X for now, I guess. And at Kated or Kate D on Instagram. And don't forget, if you want to, buy us a coffee, follow the link. We need a new microphone so we can have cool guests like my brother-in-law, Mike, who's an endocrinologist, who's going to be really top-notch guest. And I have to talk to you about that when this is done. And yeah, no, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. We're Kate and Isaiah.
And don't forget to, if you are listening on YouTube, liking and subscribing also is a huge help. So we definitely appreciate that. But thank you for listening this week. Bye.
Bye.